Fanny in what would become its responsible whenever it was challenging wrapping itself in the mantle of uh, home ownership. It argued that its low costs also lowered mortgage rates for customers and that forcing it out of the market would make homes more expensive in a March speech to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Maxwell cited that the attack on Fannie Mae was part of a campaign by Wall Street and tipping efforts to restore inefficiency to the housing finance system in order to increase their profits through higher home mortgage rates. He added they don't seem to care if this would close the door on homeownership for thousands upon thousands of American families. In the end, Pierce ruled that Spanish could it's up to over the following 15 months. Martin's clients trumpeted it as a victory because the number wasn't unlimited, but as he said today, it was a short-term victory. Well, we leave it to fight another day, and we leave it to lose another day. Sure enough, by Fanny had been granted permanent and unlimited authority to use remix. How did Fanny me persuade Paris to rule in its favor? Not be sweet talking. That's for sure. Maxwell had an iron fist inside that velvet glove of this we essentiality wooden some of ons control over who's in a bill that's passed the House using subcommittee Maloney says today in that bill on ability to approve new programs was removed who went to Fanny and essentiality pleaded for mercy in return for whose asking the Congress to drop the provision had approved Fanny has insured, says Maloney. Maloney also called Law Nevis and told him that if Salomon didn't back off, Fanny wouldn't do business with the bank anymore. Maxwell Dennis, knowing about the call for all their conflicts, Salomon Brothers had been Fannie Mae's banker, bringing its mortgage-backed deals to market and underwrite its debut offering, making millions in fees as a result. This was a major threat. It's like the post office saying, "We won't deliver your mail." Nevin says he remembers thinking to himself, if they get away with this, there won't be a private company in the world that will stand up to them. With the benefit of hindsight, it's hard to argue that Ramic authority was the cataclysmic event that either party feared it was at the time. While Fannie is used its own securities, Wall Street made immense amounts of money market and selling them. Fannie never had the ability to find the Japanese bank of their Midwest insurance company that might want a specific trade, and Fannie was always going to play and important role in the market because of these warrants which were priced by investors. Essentially, it got to decide which mortgages were worthy of security securitization and which were not, and mortgage lenders had to offer mortgages that confirm. Fannie and what would become its responsible whenever it was alleged happened itself in the mantle of homeownership. It argued that its low costs also lowered mortgage rate for customers and that forcing it out of the market will make homes more expensive in March speech to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Maxwell said that the attack on Fannie Mae was part of a campaign by Wall Street and the being traced to the restore inefficiently to the housing finance system in order to increase their profits through higher home mortgage rates. He added, they don't seem to care if this will close the door of homeownership for thousands upon thousands of American families. In the end, Pierce ruled that Fannie could up to in remix over the following 15 months. Bertine's clients trumpeted it as a victory because the number wasn't unlimited, but as they said today, it was a short-term victory. We lived to fight another day, and we lived to lose another day. Sure enough, by late one night, 1088, Fanny had been granted permanent and unlimited authority to use Remix. How did Fannie Mae persuade price to roll in its favor? Not be not be sweet talking, that's for sure. Maxwell had an iron fist inside that velvet glove of this, we essentially wouldn't some hot control over us in a bill that passed the House Housing Subcommittee. Maloney says today in that bill had ability to approve new programs was revoked, who went to Fannie and essentially planning for mercy in return for who's asking the Congress to drop provision had approved Fannie insure, cites Melanie. Melanie also called Lou Nevis and told him that if Solomon did back off, Fannie wouldn't do business with the bank anymore. Maxwell then Conowell about the call for all their conflicts. Solomon Brothers had been Fannie Barker bringing in its mortgage banking deals to market and underwriting its debt offerings, making millions in the fees. As a result, this was a major threat. It's like the post office saying we won't deliver your mail. Nevin say he remembered things to himself. If they get away with this, there won't be a private company in the world that will stand up to them. With the benefit of hindsight, it's hard to argue the Remic authority was the cataclysm event that Hitler Party felt it was at the time. While Fannie sued its own securities, Wall Street made immense amounts of um, of money marketing and selling them. Penny never had the ability to find a Japanese bank or the Midwest insurance company that might want a specific um, um, tranche, and Fannie was always going to play an important role in the mortgage market because of its warranties, which were present by investors. Essentially, it got to decide which mortgages were worthy of securitization and which were not, and mortgage lenders had to offer mortgages that conformed to the Gates Street standards. Hinted after Alted hype over Remix, a series of big losses at several Wall Street firms. Trader Tag had it by Mary Lynch loss over, which at the time was having some caused the market to cool on curving up cash flows in such extraordinarily complex ways. At least for a time, the street returned to old-fashioned pass-through securities, the ones that didn't touch the bonds but simply sent the cash flow along to investors. The hedge fund manager David Askin, who lost hundreds of millions of investor money buying mortgage-backed securities that were supposed to have very low risk, told institution investors that not all this stuff is for kids in the studio audience to try and do at home. On the other hand, the future of the mortgage market might have been very different if Fannie Mae had lost control of it at that critical juncture, and the battle between Fannie and Wall Street did have consequences that will linger for a very long time. The threats that Fannie had faced, not just from a Wall Street that wanted to clip its wings, but from a White House that wanted to take away its built-in advantage, deeply affecting Fannie's corporate mindset. Its attitude became one of on-site aggression toward even the most insignificant of threats. You push my brother, I will burn your house down, was the saying around the company. The idea that Fannie should be stripped of its government advantage become, in Maloney words, the vampire issue. It never completely went away. Fanny always felt that its opponents, whatever competitors or critics in the government, were out the skill it in this. It was absolutely right. In addition, the Remic fight established Fannie and Freddie has forced not just in Washington but on Wall Street. The two companies completely dominate the market for so-called conforming mortgage, that is 30 years fixed mortgage under a certain size made to Buyers with good credit stories. It was the end of the game, says Nevins. By the end of the 190,000 80, there was more than word of outstanding warranting mortgage-backed securities, according to a study by economic consulting firm Empiric. The outstanding volume of private mortgage-backed securities, the ones without warranties, was less than one ten outstanding volume of private mortgage bracket securities, the ones without warranties to amounts. Fannie meanwhile went from losing $1 million a day to making more than 1 billion a year. Its market value exploded from has for the longer 10 years of mortgage-backed securities, the ones that could emerge in the years before the financial crisis were largely overlooked as Wall Street and the race to establish a market for their new miracle products. Largely but not entirely at one congressional hearing, Leon Kendall, the chairman of the Mortgage Warranty Insurance Corporation, a private insurer of mortgage, offered up a property warning with all our concern in enhancing the secondary mortgage market. We should continue to have appropriate and equivalent concern relative to keeping people historically. He noted less than 2% of people lost their homes to foreclosure because what was good for the lending institution was also good for the borrower. But the new securitization market threatened to change that because once a lender sold a mortgage, it no longer had a stake in whether the borrower could make his her payments. He concluded the linkage which support the folly between the mortgage orientation and the secondary market must be both careful and appropriately. Unless we have some loans, we are going to find that the basic product we are trading to hands and multiply will turn out solid. Will securitization operate to be alchemy? It wasn't in the end a magic trick. The risks inherent in mortgage hadn't disappeared. They were still where somewhere hate lurking in a dark corner. Dick Pratt, who had left the Federal Home Loan Bank board to become the first president of Merrill Lynch Mortgage Capital, used to put it this way: the mortgage is the neutral palm of financial products. There was one final consequence after the Remick bill was strict released. It was never going to dislodge Fannie and Freddie from their dominant position as the securities of traditional mortgage. If it hoped to circumvent and keep all the profits to itself, Wall Street will have to find to some other mortgage product or security products that Fannie and Freddie couldn't or wouldn't touch. As Maxwell later put it, their effort became one to find products they could profit from where they didn't have to compete with Fannie. He added, that's ultimate what happened.